Egyptian Queen Cleopatra experimented on condemned prisoners with various poisons and snake venoms, discovering a venom to be the most painless of all fatal toxins. After the fall of Egypt to Octavian, Cleopatra smuggled a snake with the most painless venom into her chambers in a basket of figs. To avoid humiliation, she decided to commit suicide. So she took out the snake and received a bite from it. Little did she know that though the venom caused less pain, it affected the human body slowly. Ultimately, Cleopatra and her two handmaidens died from the bite of that snake. The snake was an Egyptian cobra. Egyptian history and mythology are fascinating subjects. Today we will talk about some animals that were worshipped by the Egyptians. The Egyptian cobra was represented in Egyptian mythology by the cobra-headed goddess Meretseger. A stylized Egyptian cobra, in the form of the uraeus representing the goddess Wadjet, was the symbol of sovereignty for the pharaohs who incorporated it into their diadem. The Egyptian cobra is a large species. It averages roughly 1.4 meters, 4.6 feet, with the longest recorded specimen measuring 2.59 meters, 8.5 feet. The head is large, depressed, and slightly distinct from the neck. The eye is quite big with a round pupil. The length of the Egyptian cobra is largely dependent on subspecies, geographical locale, and population. The most recognizable characteristics of this species are its head and hood. The Egyptian cobra ranges across most of North Africa north of the Sahara, across the savannas of West Africa to the south of the Sahara, south to the Congo Basin, and east to Kenya and Tanzania. The color is highly variable, but most specimens are some shade of brown, often with a teardrop mark below the eye. Some are more copper red or gray-brown in color. Specimens from northwestern Africa, Morocco, are almost entirely black. The ventral side is mostly creamy white, yellow-brown, grayish, blue-gray, dark brown, or black, often with dark spots. On March 26, 2011, the Bronx Zoo informed the public that their reptile house was closed after a venomous adolescent female-banded Egyptian cobra was discovered missing from its off-exhibit enclosure on March 25th. Zoo officials were confident the missing cobra would be found in the building and not outside, since the Egyptian cobra is known to be uncomfortable in open areas. The snake's metabolism would also have been impacted by the cold weather outdoors at that time in the Bronx. The cobra was found in a dark corner of the zoo's reptile house on March 31st, 2011, in good health. After a contest, she was named Mia for missing in action. The Egyptian cobra is a terrestrial and crepuscular or nocturnal species. It can, however, be seen basking in the sun at times in the early morning. This species shows a preference for a permanent home base in abandoned animal burrows, termite mounds, or rock outcrops. It is an active forager, sometimes entering human habitations, especially when hunting domestic fowl. Like other cobra species, it generally attempts to escape when approached, at least for a few meters, but if threatened, it assumes the typical upright posture with the hood expanded and strikes. This species prefers to eat toads, but will prey on small mammals, birds, eggs, lizards, and other snakes. The venom of the Egyptian cobra consists mainly of neurotoxins and cytotoxins. The average venom yield is 175 to 300 milligrams in a single bite. The venom affects the nervous system, stopping the nerve signals from being transmitted to the muscles, and, at later stages, stopping those transmitted to the heart and lungs as well, causing death due to complete respiratory failure. Envenomation causes local pain, severe swelling, bruising, blistering, necrosis, and variable non-specific effects, which may include headache, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea, dizziness, collapse, or convulsions, along with possible moderate to severe flaccid paralysis. Unlike some other African cobras, like the red-spitting cobra, this species does not spit venom. The Egyptian cobra garnered increased attention in Canada in the fall of 2006, when a pet cobra became loose and forced the evacuation of a house in Toronto for more than 5 months, when it was believed to have sought refuge in the home's walls. The owner was fined $17,000 and jailed for a year. In July 2018, Aref Ghafouri was bitten by an Egyptian cobra while preparing for a show in Turkey. He was evacuated to Egypt for treatment with the anti-venom and made a full recovery. Over time, stories and real-life encounters with this snake remind us of the need to respect and be careful with nature. Whether seen as a symbol of power or a dangerous animal, the Egyptian cobra shows us the beauty and complexity of the natural world. The Egyptian jackal, also known as the African golden wolf, is a fascinating animal with a rich history intertwined with ancient Egyptian mythology. In ancient Egypt, the Egyptian jackal held a special place in the culture and religion. It was closely associated with Anubis, the god of mummification in the afterlife. Anubis was depicted as a man with the head of a jackal, or sometimes as a full jackal. This connection likely came from the behavior of jackals, which were often seen near cemeteries and burial grounds, scavenging for food. The ancient Egyptians noticed this and believed that jackals had a special link to the dead. Anubis was an important deity in Egyptian mythology. He was believed to watch over the dead, protect graves, and guide souls to the afterlife. The god was often shown in ancient art and carvings as a jackal-headed figure attending to the mummified bodies, ensuring they were properly prepared for their journey to the afterlife. This animal, which looks like a small wolf, lives in various parts of Africa, including Egypt. The Egyptian jackal has a slim body, long legs, and a bushy tail. Its fur is usually a mix of golden and gray, which helps it blend into the dry, grassy environments where it lives. One of the most famous symbols associated with Anubis is the Anubis Shrine, which was found in the tomb of Tutankhamun. This shrine features a statue of Anubis in the form of a reclining jackal guarding the entrance to the tomb. Such depictions reinforce the belief that Anubis, in his jackal form, was the protector of the dead and their tombs. The Egyptian jackal is an adaptable and cunning predator. It feeds on a variety of foods, including small mammals, birds, insects, and even fruits. Its ability to survive in different environments and its skill in hunting have made it a successful species. The African wolf rarely catches hares due to their speed. Gazelle mothers, often working in groups of 2 or 3, are formidable when defending their young against single wolves, which are much more successful in hunting gazelle fawns when working in pairs. A pair of wolves will methodically search for concealed gazelle fawns within herds, tall grass, bushes, and other likely hiding places. Although it is known to kill animals up to 3 times its own weight, the African wolf targets mammalian prey much less frequently than the black-backed jackal overall. On capturing large prey, the African wolf makes no attempt to kill it. Instead, it rips open the belly and eats the entrails. Small prey is typically killed by shaking, though snakes may be eaten alive from the tail end. The African wolf often carries away more food than it can consume and caches the surplus, which is generally recovered within 24 hours. When foraging for insects, the African wolf turns over dung piles to find dung beetles. During the dry seasons, it excavates dung balls to reach the larvae inside. Grasshoppers and flying termites are caught either in midair or by pouncing on them while they are on the ground. It is fiercely intolerant of other scavengers. Having been known to dominate vultures on kills, one can hold dozens of vultures at bay by threatening, snapping, and lunging at them. In ancient Egypt, people respected and feared the Nile crocodile. They believed it was connected to a god named Sobek. People thought Sobek controlled the waters of the Nile River and could protect them from dangers in the water. Sobek was seen as both a protector and a fierce warrior. Some temples were built for Sobek, where people left offerings and asked for his blessings. One of the most famous places where Sobek was worshipped is the Komombo Temple. This temple is located near the Nile River and has many carvings and statues of Sobek. The temple shows how much the ancient Egyptians honored this crocodile god. The Nile crocodile is one of the largest and most powerful animals in Africa. It lives in rivers, lakes, and marshes across many parts of the continent. This big reptile can grow up to 20 feet long and weigh as much as a small car. Nile crocodiles have strong jaws and sharp teeth, making them great hunters. Generally, the adult male Nile crocodile is between 11 feet 6 inches and 16 feet 5 inches in length and weighs 500 to 1,650 pounds. However, specimens exceeding 20 feet in length and 2,200 pounds in weight have been recorded. It may be considered the second largest extant reptile in the world, after the saltwater crocodile. Nile crocodiles are opportunistic apex predators. A very aggressive crocodile, they are capable of taking almost any animal within their range. Generally, Nile crocodiles are relatively inert creatures, as are most crocodilians and other large, cold-blooded creatures. If not disturbed, spent the hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. continuously basking with their jaws open if conditions were sunny. If their jaws are bound together in the extreme midday heat, Nile crocodiles may easily die from overheating. Although they can remain practically motionless for hours on end, whether basking or sitting in shallows, Nile crocodiles are said to be constantly aware of their surroundings and aware of the presence of other animals. That's it for today. We will see you in another interesting video.